my loves. Welcome back. I will have you know we moved furniture around today, so now my lovely Bali sarong is no longer draped over a screen, but is actually on a wall. So it might even look better in here. So today we're talking about ritual in the follicular phase. Yesterday we talked about ritual in the menstrual phase, and I just want to reiterate, ritual is simply the act of bringing consciousness, awareness, presence to the act that you are doing. So it's not routine, it's not habit, it's ritual. It's infused with awareness, and that's the biggest difference. And you don't want to live in habit and routine because that means you're living in a mindless fashion. You want to be living in presence, and it's the simple change of eating while talking to other people or watching shows or reading books versus chewing and actually like feeling, tasting, enjoying the texture, those kinds of things. So oftentimes all it takes to turn a routine or a habit into ritual is a nice deep breath before you start. And you're much more present in there. So, follicular phase. Remember when we talked about the phases, that follicular was your springtime, your wood phase, this up time. As your hormones are growing, we talked about what the hormones were doing. So for this ritual section, we're just going to focus on how we can turn this phase into a really great awareness and enjoy it. So again, we talked last time about pleasure and bringing pleasure into our periods. We're going to talk about bringing pleasure into follicular. So fill your lungs with the warming air of springtime as you stretch out of that menstrual hibernation cave womb. Feel yourself renewed, refreshed, and ready. We confuse this rise in energy with feeling normal, but normal for us as menstruators is an ebb and flow between extroverted and introverted, between high energy and chill vibes. We get to enjoy it all in flow. So I'm pulling some goodies out of my book, The Revolution Will Be Bloody. And we're going to go crash course through the six senses, my sensual system. And we did it for menstrual, we're going to do it for each phase. So we're going to start with the first, taste. It's wood element, and wood is associated with springtime and sour flavor. So we're going to think about sour foods here. It also is it's very much a detoxifying time in our cycle. So think of foods that are common in spring. Dandelion and arugula are two of those, and they're very liver supportive and detoxifying herbs, as well as cilantro and parsley. You know, chelalators, they pull the heavy metals from your body. So think about quick growing greens. Ooh, quick growing greens for that. Another one is sour, so think about fermented foods. Fermented foods often are equated with a sour flavor. You want to be eating something fermented every day, but you definitely want to get something in during this phase so that you can use it to help detox any of the bad bacteria that may have gathered and really just enjoy that sour flavor. And a lot of times women will crave a little extra flavor power punch during this phase, so it's kind of nice. Think about vinegars, sauerkrauts, kimchi, kombucha, pickles. Those are all fermented foods, so you can have some fun with those. If you follow me on Instagram, I've been posting a lot of kvases lately. Okay, so then we've got our veggies, and there are a lot of foods that I have in the book. So I'm just going to pull out a few. Broccoli, bok choy, leafy greens, string beans, early spring greens, right? Grapefruit, lemon limes, plums, sour. Proteins, black-eyed peas, Brazil nuts, cashews, chicken. Cooking with wood. So we talked about cooking with water last time in the menstrual cycle. So cooking with wood in the follicular phase would be things like campfire cooking, grilling, searing, smoking, all kind of fun wood ways of cooking. And then we're going to move into smell. So this really crosses over, as cilantro and parsley are also good smells during this time. They're kind of fun to add like some of the EOs in a little spray bottle for the house. I've always thought that kind of just smelled like spring. Citrus scents as well, you know, lemon, orange, grapefruit, lime. Throw some orange peels in vinegar and make yourself a nice orange lemon or orange vinegar. Great for cleaning. Add some citrus lemon to your water. Add a little, and just, enjoy the zest. Add a drop or two of the essential oils to a room spray or a lemon zest candle, right? So there's lots of ways that you can incorporate these smells. Juniper berry and clove oils are also ones that are great for this phase. They're very woody in smell, and they're not as immediate for people in going into that for smell, so I really like that one. Oregano oil and neem are another two that are great. So just some fun extras there. Then we're going to move into our touch movement scents. So one of the things that I love to suggest that's very detoxifying is going water cycling. So where you go from hot to cold water. So you can do that at home in the shower just by swinging from hot to cold in your shower. If you have heart conditions or medical conditions that you don't want extremes, obviously don't do this. But another one is a lot of traditional cultures have things built into it, like Korean spas here in LA, Russian spas, Japanese baths, where you go from hot tubs or hot saunas or hot rooms into cold. So they're fun. Swedish, right? There's a lot of you sit in the sauna and then you go out and play in the snow. So those heat cold cycling therapies. Another thing about touch and movement right here is that it's a good time to enjoy your libido. It's usually on the rise as our estrogen and testosterone are rising. We start to get more libido action happening. So whether you're single or partner, doesn't matter. You can enjoy that rising libido. Just make it more about enjoying the pleasure-filled journey and less about arriving at the orgasmic destination. This is a really fun phase, so have some fun with it. Another thing is that as this is all happening, these hormones are shifting, your brain opens to new experiences. So it makes it a perfect time to go do things like harder classes, up level. If you've been taking yoga 1, maybe go try yoga 2, or a harder class. If you've been doing a workout routine, maybe try the boot camp version or something. It's just fun to take it to a next level during this phase. Try dance class, dance in your living room. Normally it's a great time to go do some group workouts. Sight and sound. Events, absolutely. Networking, action movies, dancing at the club, all good, fun things for sight and sound. Engaging, exciting, bright, flashy, noisy, all things that are happening during this phase as you're coming into it. And then, honestly, an ovulation that we'll talk about next time is just adding exclamation points to all of that. It's just a more outdoor and exciting time of your cycle. It's more about engaging with other humans. Okay. Sense 6, your spirit, is a very wild spirit. So we women have our wolf spirit, we have our wild spirit, we have our get muddy, get dirty, get creative, get bloody, get messy spirit. And this phase really starts to bring that out and forward. So if we are really embracing our phases, embracing that wilder nature is a perfect time right now, and to start getting comfortable with it. So plan an adventure, pick an item off of your bucket list, dive into it, dive into your work with gusto, shine your light, polish your bliss, and be radiant. I've got a moving meditation that I do. It's a Qigong meditation, Carry the Tiger. If you're in any of my programs or if you have the book, it's in there. But we don't have time to dive into those things right now. So those are the 6 senses. And then I just wanted to reiterate, or maybe talk about this a little bit differently. Our whole menstrual cycle is full of pleasure and way to celebrate. And that's what ritual is a way of celebrating, a way of bringing in pleasure, because ritual should be something that you find pleasurable. I don't think we should be spending time doing things that make us miserable. Yes, hard work has to be done in life, and this is the perfect phase to do it, but it doesn't have to be unpleasant. You can work really hard about something that you love and find a lot of joy in it. So finding the joy, finding the thing that you love, is each and every phase that you enjoy and love to do is really what we're talking about here. So all it takes is a willingness to go out on a limb and consider that your period can be positive. Consider that your bleed can be joyful, even if you're in bed like me. Consider that this time can be full of pleasure. If you don't expand your capacity for pleasure, you won't get more pleasure. That's just how that goes. You have to actively expand your ability to receive and hold more. So practice feeling joy. And I wanted to bring this up for this phase because this is the phase where you really can enjoy things easier. We often feel like this is the phase where we feel normal, right? We just talked about that feeling of normalcy, quote unquote, in our cycles and during this phase. So we might feel a little bit more normal during this phase, but again, we get the joy of up and down, and we need to be using it. And since this is one of those up phases where it's a little bit easier to access what brings us pleasure and joy, we should practice during this phase so we know what it feels like in the rest of them. Ritual is simply bringing consciousness to your actions. It's being aware of what you're doing, bringing ritual into your everyday life, and you'll bring pleasure into the little things. That will then spill over into the big things. You can, in fact, have it all. All right? So this is the follicular phase, bringing some ritual into the follicular phase. I would love to hear some ideas of what you're going to do or try in your next follicular phase, or what you already do. You might even have some ideas of like, oh, I do this after my period all the time. So share some ideas of what you like to do, what you like to feel, experience, whatever in your follicular phase. And don't forget that if you want to be entered to win a digital copy, go back to the ritual and menstruation phase video and comment on that puppy and let us know what you're doing for your menstrual phase. And then you'll be entered to win the digital copy of the book. All right? All right. Love you guys, and I will see you on the inside.